Hey, this is Cindy KUBICA with Energized Living Today, and I'm so excited for many reasons. One is FARRIS is here, and I want to thank all of you for your healing energy and your prayers that you sent to him last night. When his son called me, he had just talked to him, and he said, I've never heard my dad feel so bad or sound so bad, and would you get him to the hospital? And I'm convincing him to go, and I said, I haven't been able to get him there. And he said he needs to go now. And for his son to say that is big. And I saw FARRIS. He looked like tissue paper white. He was hunched over and just barely moving. He sounded awful, barely spoke amongst or above a whisper. And then this morning when I talked to him, I was like, what? Is this the same person we saw last night? And when he went to the hospital, they didn't do anything for him. They ran him through some tests and said, go see the VA. We don't know what's going on. Is that right, FARRIS?
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah. And so everyone's healing energy and love being sent to FARRIS, this is the result of that, folks. This is real medicine. So let's give ourselves a big hand, everybody.
Thank you so much.
I am so excited. It's just, it just thrills me when I see this. And I felt the energy and could barely sleep last night because I was just feeling everybody's energy, and I was sending out energy to FARRIS as well. And it's miraculous. I love the way that works. And this coincides with what we're going to be talking about today, because we have Health Intuitive Masami Covey, and she is amazing. We had the best conversation. And what I love about her is she not only is a health intuitive, but she also has the science background. In fact, she has an extensive science background. So she's a very grounded person. And that really appeals to me, as you know. I'm a very grounded person as well, and I love the science. So she's going to be coming, at this whole topic today from a science point of view. So I thank you so much for being here. And I would love to just start off with you sharing a little bit about your history and what brought you to being a health intuitive.
Sure. Thank you for having me. And I'm so glad to hear that FARRIS is doing well. Nice to meet you, FARRIS.
And same here.
Yes, I have been on these calls several times, and I've seen you, but I've never met you or talked to you. So I'm so glad to see you here. It's one of the, I think there are principles of healing, and one is that you cannot do this. You can't be human being by yourself. It's a collective work. You can't be raised by yourself either on a desert island or something, right? So you need to have the village coming together. So this is truly amazing. So I'm really, really glad to see you. So.
Well, now wait a minute. What do I say to those wolves that raised me?
Right? Maybe. Is that what I'm hearing at 8 p.m.? Everybody's howling, we're all doing the howling for the health worker.
Yeah. That's it.
That's who we are seeing. I see. But yeah, no, thanks for having me. And I normally usually have a theme or something that people ask me. It's like tomorrow I have a call on microbes and emotions, and so I'm usually pretty prepared in terms of, okay, this is the topic, right? But today I just sat back and I said, just be me, just show up to what unfolds, and this is kind of coming together. So questions, whatever comes around is fine with me. And just to give you my background, I have to tell you that I was a closeted intuitive for a long time.
I know what you mean there.
And what's funny is that it was about over a year ago, I started to get this nudge from my father, who passed away in 2016, and he has become quite the guide for me. And so I call on him, and he's always around, but he comes in the form of owls a lot. So, and I have an owl family in my yard, so it's always around. But anyway, he started to bug me. And one night I'm about to go to sleep. And then he says, stop being a closeted intuitive. And I said, oh, seriously? And what's funny is that my father was a closeted gay man pretty much entire life. Okay, so he came out to us, to our family, when I was 19. But, you know, born in early 1930s and went through the whole trying to go through those convergence therapies and whatnot. And the psychiatrist told him that he should just get married and have children. Then he will be saved, quote unquote, right? So it was just a laughing thing for me. I was laughing so out loud in my bed going, seriously, coming from you that you want me to be coming out of the closet of intuition. But so I did go full force at that point. I always knew that. And then funny thing is I told my clients, I work mostly online now, but I was seeing people on one-on-one levels for over 20 years. And so I told some of my clients that have been coming to see me for years, I said, you know, I think I'm going to announce to the world that I'm actually quite intuitive, and in my work is very balanced between science and intuition. All my clients are like, what? You thought that we didn't know that about you?
Don't you love it?
So I guess I was the only one that thought that I was under the blanket, but I wasn't. So anyway, here I am. It's been so much better for my health, to be honest with you, to just be who I am. And what's good is that my name, Masami, means truth. So that's been one of the toughest lessons, I guess, to be named truth and not being truthful to who I really was and am. So this has been a really wonderful journey for me. It's slowly developing my own language around it. And the reason why I call myself health intuitive is because we're here to enjoy wellness and health. And that it's fine if you want to call yourself medical intuitive, but that boxes me into more of a medical world, or, you know, it's too much of a diagnosis for me. And I was diagnosed with MS in 2011. And I basically said, that is not the label that I'm going to live by. So I never allowed that label to become who I am. And so during those periods and in reversing my MS, actually, I've been able to reverse my diagnosis. I decided that I want to promote health instead of medical, you know. So I do have a lot of background in medical things. You can pretty much throw anything at me that you would talk to doctors about, and then I will be able to guide you through. But that's why I choose the word health. So I love functional medicine. I'm trained in functional nutritional therapy. I'm a yoga therapist. I do have my master's degree in international business, so it's a little bit different. So I'm left brain, right brain, intuitive, as well as very much science. And I love to focus in. Where my intuition comes in is where when people share their symptoms, or maybe they have some questions about what they're going through, I have the capacity to go straight to the point where they need to focus on. That's where my intuition guides me. Once I can focus on it, that's when the science comes in to support my decision to work on that particular point. So I'm all about figuring out causes. It's never one cause. You know, I think this is very important for all of us to remember, that when people say, what is the cause? And I'm like, you know, it's everything. It could be everything. It could be weather. It could be what you ate that morning. It could be what your father was harboring in his liver for centuries. I mean, who knows? You know, your ancestors, your past lives. We don't know what the causes are, but it is important for me to go upstream from your symptoms and your disease names and what you've been diagnosed with, and to take you upstream to see whereabouts there are maybe the main concern, where we need to address. So that's what I do. So hopefully that roundabout way makes sense.
Yes, it makes a lot of sense, and I love it because that speaks to my soul. And again, what happened with FARRIS is proof of this. Yes. They can do all the medical. We know that there's an underlying problem here which can be addressed. but we also know that the power of the energy to heal is there as well. And, you know, that's, like I said, how perfect is this to have you here today?
Yeah.
Talk
And
about this. And I want you to hone in on FARRIS is okay with that, and see what we can discover about FARRIS and what's going on.
Okay.
yeah, I mean, if that's what you want to do, FARRIS, but you know, I think the power that you have, here's the interesting thing, right? So when somebody asks me like, hey, can I work with you? Or generally like the wife or the daughter will contact me and say, you need to work with my husband, or you need to work with my dad, right? I had several calls this week already on that. And I have to put a stop on that. I say, well, the willingness has to be there. You know, the openness has to be on the other side to receive that. So what I sense from FARRIS is that number one thing that I ask of anyone that wants to work with me is that, are they open to their inner healing power? And if they don't believe that they have, you know, they've given away their power to their doctors or lab tests or whatnot, and they don't believe in their healing power, it's very difficult to change things around or shift things around. So what I sense from you is that you have a very strong foundation in that you believe in your inner power. That is incredible. And you know that the healing power is in you. So I'm curious, when were you taught that? And if you weren't taught that, when did you started to know that you have that healing power? Because there's a gut level. I feel it in my second chakra with you. And then towards the first chakra, but towards the second chakra, it's very strong that you have a strong belief in who you are, and your roots are very strong, and you believe that you can heal within yourself. The healing power is in you. So I'd love to hear you talk a little bit about your journey in knowing that, because maybe others can learn from you.
Boy, I don't know how to answer that.
Wow, I stomped FARRIS.
Yeah, you stumped the panel right off. Masami, I have had depression, major depression, since I was an adolescent, to the point of being suicidal. I have never actually attempted suicide, but I've many times gone to the point of putting the barrel of the gun in my mouth and cocking the hammer and deciding, you know, if the bullet gets halfway down the barrel and you change your mind, it's too friggin' late. That's been my big bugaboo. I have an artificial heart valve. Since I got the artificial heart valve, I've had random chest pains that are not heart related. And in fact, the one doctor that spoke truth to me said he was almost certain it was anxiety attacks. And they are severe. They feel like someone's driving a spike through my chest. And they come and go at different times and at different places. And in this last 3 weeks, when I've been ill, down, whatever the hell you want to call it, I've had sometimes 10, 12 a day, which gets real old.
Well, so I'm going to just chime in here about that. And thanks for sharing all this, because this is important. This is an important topic. And it's one of those things that gets shoved under the rug kind of a thing. So just to give you a background, but my husband works for Colorado State's patrol. Basically, he's not a patrol, like he's not a police officer, but he is in charge of their wellness and health. So he's the director of health and wellness for the entire state of Colorado State Patrol. And as you probably know, and many of you know, that the police officers and first responders and the military personnel, they have the highest number of suicide.
Yeah.
What's interesting is I live in Colorado, and Colorado has the highest rate of teenage suicides now. So
Really?
it's a topic that really needs to be discussed. You know, it's not a topic that we should ignore whatsoever. So we do a lot of research on this, as well as trying to bring it to the attention of the governor and really openly discuss this in the culture that don't want to talk about it. You know, most public don't want to hear about it, but also particularly, as you can probably imagine, police and first responders, and those guys do not want to go down that road. But this is a real deal, because we end up hearing about after they've committed suicide, and then, you know, what's left with them, you know, with the family members and the teams. And I mean, these guys are like, you know, they're families, right? These guys work together and support one another. So, but as you were speaking, I was doing a muscle testing on you. That's what I do a lot. So you'll see my hand go like this once in a while. I could see it in my mind too, but I double check most of the times. One of the things, Farris, that I think you will really, really benefit from is creating a little bit more variety around probiotics and prebiotics. Okay, so I'm going to go straight to the science for a little bit right now. So what it is that most of our anxieties and depression are caused by, you know, we call it neurotransmitters not being produced the right amount, right? However, the neurotransmitters for things like dopamine and serotonin are mostly produced in your gut. Okay, so your gut produces 99% of your serotonin, or maybe a little less, okay? So serotonin gets converted. You know, serotonin is basically what makes you feel like, you know, it's worth living. This is good. Things are pretty calm and I'm worthy. And this is, it's like a sunshine in a little bit inside. So the serotonin gets converted to melatonin. So you sleep better at night, right? So that's why sometimes I will have my clients take melatonin and then see if that works really well for them. Then I need to go back to their gut and figure out what's going on in their gut lining. Okay. So I go straight to your gut with this. And then what I sensed was that you lack in variety of probiotics. The variety is what's important. And this is the topic that I'll be talking about tomorrow in one of the calls. And then I'll be doing a monthly webinar, which I'll write down the information a little later so people can check it out. But I'll be doing my monthly webinar next Tuesday on this topic. But COVID-19 has really created lack of varieties. And we know why, because we're wearing masks, we're wearing gloves, which we should to support what's going on and not, you know, to preventive measures. It's important. But as human beings, we need to be exposed to people walking right by you. That's why 6 feet, I mean, we're exchanging all kinds of microbes with each other. But this isolation has created even more deadly conditions in our gut by creating microbes that are less diverse. So you start to live with your own microbes that are only producing a certain amount of serotonin or dopamine or things that will make you calm. Things like that we need variety to produce have come way down in the last 5 weeks or so, right? Colorado's been locked down for, I think, about 5 weeks. We just started opening up this week, but nobody's really going out there right now. You know, everybody's still covered up and all that, right? Which is where we need to be. But at the same time, this is the time that we're starting to feel a ramped up feeling of depression, which I've been sensing as well myself. Every morning, I swear to you, everyone, it takes me close to 30 minutes to get out of bed. And I'm not that kind of person. I'm usually I'm a pretty upbeat person. You know, Mary knows me quite well, but I'm pretty stable, okay? And I'm pretty focused. And when you contact me, you can pretty much know that this is who I am. What you see is what you get with me, right? But for this past 3 to 4 weeks, it's been really rough. But I would say last 3 weeks, it takes me almost half an hour to get out of bed. And my husband had to come into the bedroom again this morning and say, honey, are you okay? Are you going to get up? It takes me that long to basically distinguish whose depression am I feeling and whose is it that I'm taking on, and is it mine? Is it somebody else's? And so what I've been really craving is like sauerkraut, pickles. So I've been drinking pickle juice, literally sauerkraut juice.
Oh, my darling.
And
I love pickle juice.
You what?
I love pickle juice.
Oh, I love it. So what I recommend with you, Farris, is that you go buy 3 different kinds of pickles and drink different pickle juice with it, okay? And get yourself the probiotics that you normally wouldn't ever take. Or there's another one that I love, and I think you could find it almost everywhere. It's called Inner Eco, and it's a coconut kefir. So even if you have dairy sensitivities, this is a liquid kefir that will give you billions of different kind of probiotics into your system. And that could be really great. So you switch it around. You know, the variety is the key right now, because we're not interacting with a variety of people like we normally do. And the fact is, you know, on the video and things like that, people think I'm an extrovert, but I'm not. I'm a total empath and I'm an introvert. I'm much like, if people invite me to parties, holy crap, it takes me like days to decide whether I'm going to respond to that person, because if I'm going to make it or not. I'm one of those like last 12-hour responder, you know. It's like, until that point, I have no idea if I want to attend that party or not, because my initial thought's like, no way. Number 2 is like, oh, I always say no way. Maybe I should go this time. So anyway, I'm very sensitive, right? So anyway, so right now, I'm loving the fact that I get to stay home in this introverted space, but I am noticing that I'm not going to the store much. You know, I just kind of keep what I have in my home, and I don't really interact with anyone. So I am not being exposed to children walking by, the store clerk, even Home Depot. Just going into Home Depot, you're going to be exposed to all kinds of stuff. Costco parking lot, you're going to be exposed to people. But I'm not doing that. The last time I went to Costco was a month ago, you know, in search of toilet paper. Now I have toilet paper that will last me 6 months, so I don't need to go back. So that's what I would recommend, Farris, is that you introduce, so now you have this tribe, you know, this beautiful group that are praying for you. They're here for you. Now you got to create that same kind of variety in your gut. So that's what I would recommend ASAP. So start doing some liquid-based probiotics.
Okay.
All right.
I can't tell you how many times, and Cindy can verify this, I have told people that they need to drink pickle juice. And they look at me like I'm an idiot.
Oh, no. Pickle juice is amazing. Okay. So, and then if you're craving pickle juice like I do, and I'm not even pregnant, and I know Farris isn't either. Last I checked.
I'm pretty sure he's not either.
I'm sure. Yeah. Okay.
You don't even have to muscle test for that.
I was actually doing it. Oh my God, I was double checking myself with you. Yeah, no, I got the no on that one. Okay, so pickle juice has not only amazing probiotics, but what that tells me, Farris, is that you're low on electrolytes. Okay, so pickle juice gives you electrolytes like sodium and potassium. There's so much potassium in pickle juice. That's why some people really need it. And I'm one of those people that get restless legs at night, and I get leg cramps. And pickle juice would just kick that up. You know, I mean, not kick that up as in it'll remove it. Okay, so it's fabulous. And then let me just check your minerals. Yeah, I think you could actually use a little bit more magnesium also.
Okay.
Magnesium is a very calming, nerve calming, and for your autonomic nervous system, but also nerves, it's wonderful to take some magnesium. So let me just check. How much is usually, okay, everyone, there are about 26 different kinds of magnesiums out there. So please do not get stuck in taking one. Here we go with the variety, okay?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm a huge fan of muscle testing my own self in the grocery stores, or, you know, I muscle test all my clients over the videos, or even long distance, I could do this. But you want to muscle test yourself, okay? For you though, Farris, I feel like magnesium orotate is a good one for you, because it doesn't make your stools loose, or it doesn't irritate your gut lining, because you have a sensitivity around gut. So we want to do things that are a little bit gentler. and you want to take about 5 times of your body weight in milligrams. Okay, 5 times of your body weight in milligrams. However, please don't jump to that 5 times today. Okay, you want to build yourself up, because otherwise you'll be rushing to the bathroom with diarrhea. Okay, so but that's your goal, right? So you do maybe 2 times your body weight for about a week. Then you just see, check in with yourself. How do I feel? Does it make me sleep better? Do I have less anxieties? Because a lot of the anxiety attacks is basically that person is lacking electrolyte. So you go into panic. Your body is literally panicking and asking you to feed you with the right electrolyte. But most people don't have that language, right? Most people don't speak the body language like I do. And that comes from both intuition as well as education, right? So what I sense with the panic attacks is that you benefit so much from doing a little bit of a magnesium. So build it back up to about 5 times your body weight in about 3 weeks.
Okay.
And then you can take a little break. I always love to take a break from my supplements, just to kind of see, hey, how are we doing with this? Because supplements are to supplement you, right? It's not medication, so it's not forever. Nothing is forever, and you need to dance with it. So you're having a little tango with it, and just say, hey, magnesium, should I go down a little bit? Or should I take a different kind of magnesium at this point? Okay, so, and that's when you can reach out to me, to FARRIS, and say, hey, I did the magnesium orotate, and I'm done with the bottle. Should I try something new? Then I can tune into you, and then I could give you an example of some things you could do. But everyone, remember, if you have a really loose stools, you tend to be more on the diarrhea side. I'm a constipation queen, by the way. So if you have constipation questions, I'm the one to ask. Yeah. But you tend to have
title.
Right? I give it to myself even. It's like, it's my name. But if you have a loose stools, if you stools tends to be kind of on the runnier side, then be careful with the, slowly introducing magnesium. But that doesn't mean that the magnesium is bad for you. That has nothing to do with it. Your absorption has been compromised, basically. That's why the magnesium is not getting absorbed. Then what I would recommend is that you do maybe magnesium spray. So I'll write down my website later, but I have a couple magnesium sprays you can order from Amazon or stores or whatever. You can spray onto your belly. Okay, so remember where to spray your magnesium. Belly's great. Then you can absorb that into the colon immediately, right? Another great area for magnesium spray is your calves, okay? Your calves in Asia, where I grew up. So everyone, just a side note, English is my second language. So sometimes I say things a little bit strangely. Like I forget.
You're from Japan.
Yeah, I'm from Japan. Japanese is my first language. And so I say words like, I forget S's and thes and us, because we don't have that in Japanese language. Like apple is an apple in Japan. Like whether it's a box of apples or an apple, it doesn't matter, just apple. So bear with me, everyone, okay? But you want to spray that on your calves, and your calves are considered in Asia as second heart of your body. So if you're having some heart palpitations, tightness, or like you said, FARRIS, like anxiety attacks, that's like somebody squeezing you, that's a pure sign that you need magnesium, and you would benefit from spraying that onto your calves.
Okay.
And making sure that your calves are nice and soft, so you can massage it or do a toe raises or like heel raises to stretch your calves. I love dropping my heels down on the steps, staircases, and really stretching the Achilles tendon. Yeah. Those are really, really important to do, because we sit too much. We all know that, right? Mm-hmm. And then not only that, but when we are in kind of a lockdown mode, all of us are contracting. Nobody's like opening arms going, hey, hug everyone. Nobody's doing that. So this is nervous system wise, we're under attack. Okay. We're all tightening up. We're tightening inward, but that's not going to be a healing energy for any of us. Okay. So Do a lot of kind of the deep breathing that opens your arms up and then closing, maybe things like that, like you're swimming through the sky, you know, like wings. Those would be good too. But there's a couple of suggestions for you, Farris. Yeah.
Masami, thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
And Farris, so 5 times your weight in magnesium would be a half a teaspoon. Farris is about this big. So I'm sorry, I just had to say that.
Now I got to clean my screen. I just spit all over it.
Things that Joni is asking over here, she says there's she doesn't have a magnesium spray. Can you use the powder and dissolve it in water and spray it, or does it?
Or what about the roll-ons?
Roll-ons are great. You could do Epsom salt bath, right? Because that's the cheapest way to get your magnesium. Magnesium flakes, which they tend to be a little more expensive, but that's fantastic. And then let me, you know, look over my notes on the magnesium, because I just learned about something that's fantastic. So I'll get to it, but go ahead and ask me other questions if you have.
What's your thoughts on the relatively newly discovered, what is it, magnesium threonine or something like that?
Yes, those are great too. Those are great. So what you want to do is truly muscle test yourself. And I hope everybody knows how to muscle test your own self. But what I do is I hold on to the bottle at my chest, so between my chest, so sternum bone. And then generally, I've not ever met anybody, and I've worked with thousands of people, but most people will lean forward in their body. But please close your eyes if you're not used to muscle testing yourself, because eyes, we get 90–80% of, you know, information through our eyes, right? So it can be distracting to your own muscle testing. So make sure you close your eyes and then place it right at your chest. And if you lean forward and you ask yourself only one question, is this good for me? That's the question you need to ask. And if it's good, you will lean forward for sure. And if it's neutral, you will just kind of remain just right there. You know, you might shake side to side a little bit. And if it's not for you, you will definitely go backwards. So but like I said, you know, don't be afraid to try different kind of magnesiums. And then the one that I was going to tell you is called molecular hydrogen tablets. This is something I just learned about. So molecular hydrogen tablets, okay? You can take them orally, but these tablets are amazing for a foot bath. And if you love to take baths, this one tablet will give you so much magnesium into your cells, like immediately. So this is a fabulous magnesium to take. It's a little bit on the pricier side than like magnesium orotate or citrate or other things, okay? However, this is fantastic if you're doing a foot bath. So what I do is I usually use like a bucket from Home Depot and fill it with the hot water. Put some Epsom salt in there. I love actually a little bit of a baking soda too. And then I put magnesium flakes, and you could put a tablet of these, the magnesium molecular hydrogen tablets. And then you soak your feet while you're watching some, you know, while you're on this show with Farris and Cindy.
Yeah.
You just soak your feet. Yeah. And do it pretty hot. Okay. Hot water matters at this point, because that will open up your pores, but it's also very helpful for your lymphatic system. Yeah.
So the question, I want to go back to Joni's question for just a second, because she was asking if you can dissolve the powder and use it on the skin.
You know, you can, but the magnesium sprays are really economical. They're so cheap that that's what I would recommend, maybe more than trying to dissolve your precious capsules, because capsules are more expensive, right? And
Norm Shealy has a great one.
She has, okay, yeah. So definitely
Norm Shealy, Dr. Norm Shealy.
Oh yeah, Norm Shealy. Yes, sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And there are just wonderful stuff out there. So I would recommend the spray for this. And a little side note with the spray. Okay, so spray magnesium flakes. Okay, they come from the deep part of the ocean. So when you spray them, you will feel like, it's a little bit kind of a weird oily feeling first. So it comes from the deepest part of the ocean, right? So when you spray it, imagine like you're spraying ocean to your body, okay? So when it dries out, it will have a white coating on you, okay? As if you went swimming all day and you didn't shower afterwards. It's that same kind of feeling will show up, okay? So when that happens, your body could feel itchy, like your skin will feel a little itchy, like you haven't showered after ocean swimming all day, okay? Don't panic. That's quite normal with the magnesium spray. So what you do is you go get yourself a little olive oil or even coconut oil or, you know, avocado oil. It doesn't matter. You put a little bit on that and that will dilute that itchiness and that should go away. All right. So it's just when I don't say this to people, they panic. They're like, oh my God, that spray made me so itchy. Well, so don't go overboard with it, first of all, and then dilute it using some oil. Okay, but not essential oil. We're talking like apricot oil, you know, sesame oil, avocado oil, olive oil, things like that. And if you tend to get eczema or you have yeast and fungal overgrowth, kind of candida, kind of a rashes, then the coconut oil is the one that you want to use because that has a natural antifungal, antibacterial properties around it. Okay. So I'm sorry I went a little scientific, but I can go either direction, so feel free.
No, I'm loving it. I'm loving taking lots of notes here, everybody.
Good, good. And a side note, FARRIS, that about microbes. I love microbes. Okay. So we have to all remember, everyone, this is a very humbling moment, right? I'm about to take you through, okay? We have 100 trillion microbes in us or more. In us and on us. So they're on your hair, they're on your skin, they're inside your nostrils, they're inside your eyes, they're inside your gut, right? So we have 100 trillion plus microbes. And what that means, okay, is that, and then we have human cells, okay? Human cells versus microbial cells. We have 100 times more microbial cells than human cells, okay? And genetic materials, genetic human genes are about, and we're kind of similar to like earthworms and bananas. We're not that different from bananas or earthworms. That's extremely humbling to know.
Yeah, boy.
That what we think we are is not really who we are. Okay. So what we wake up and say, who am I? You know, what am I picking up? Well, who knows what I'm picking up? I could be picking up the signals from the apple that it's in my kitchen. I don't know. I mean, I'm like a banana, okay, or earthworms. I'm not that much more sophisticated than that, okay? But what makes humans amazing is that we're the host of all these microbes. And all these microbes include yeast, fungus, virus, parasites, you name it. They all come together and they are living in you and on you. So you're truly a host to these, you know, other organisms and other living things. So it's very humbling to know that you are not what you think, okay? And you are not what you thought you were, okay? So that's number one. And number two is that when we get anxieties, depression, sugar cravings, carbohydrate cravings, or sometimes like just this raging anger, you know, I've been kind of sensing that for the last, like this burst of anger. That's like, where is that coming from, right? Okay, where's that coming from is a giant question because it's not necessarily coming from the big I that we think. The little I is there along with 100 trillion other I's in there. So you have to have I kind of look at it as you have to have a round table discussions with them once in a while and invite all your archetypes, friends, right? All your archetypes need to come together. Your wounded child needs to show up sometimes. I'm a hermit, so I got a hermit shows up sometimes on my round table. I'm not a mother, but not mother meaning I don't have children, but my work is very mothering kind of a work. So I have a mother archetype, I'm a teacher. and I'm an artist, and I'm a saboteur, I'm a victim, I'm a prostitute. I mean, people don't want to know about the fact that we are all prostitutes to a certain degree, because we have to sell ourselves to gain something back. I mean, that's the exchange we're having, right? So sometimes you just got to take that time in the morning and pretend you're sitting at the giant dining table with 100 trillion microbes and all your archetypes, and recognize that all that makes you who you are. And it's a very humbling moment. And then at that point, you need to say to all of them and say, can we get together, and can we get through today together? And that's what I do every morning, because yes, it's been difficult for me for the last 3 weeks or so to get up in the morning. So,
You know, I kind of like that idea of having a family meeting.
yeah, right?
Yeah.
I do that with my guides.
Yeah, well, guys need to show up in there too.
Yeah.
If my dad shows up in there, all my angels showing up,
Yeah.
all my ancestors. I mean, it gets pretty
Yeah.
busy, and I have to prepare quite the meal for them. Yeah. So, remember, like, sometimes some of them have louder voices. Sometimes yeast and fungus tend to speak that day. And that's when you're getting sugar cravings. That's when you're, maybe your old addictions are starting to come back. Like for me, it's like workaholism. That's my addiction, right? I love crunchy foods. Crunchy foods make me feel much better, because it's just one of those deep-seated anger that I have that comes out of my liver, that it shows up on crunchy foods. I like rice crackers the best, give me the hardest rice crackers, and that makes me feel better. But knowing that about me helps me to be kind to who I am, to be compassionate towards who I am, and compassionate towards others I work with, right? So I'm not here to necessarily, tell people you're not doing this right and you're not doing that right, because who's this you or I that I'm speaking to? There's multiple layers of I. So let's just first gather up, get to know each other, as all collective of who you are. Then number one, let's be kind to one another, because we all bring different information and different history to that table. Yeah.
Beautiful. I love that. I love that. I'm gonna invite in all of my archetypes. I've been having meetings with my guides, but not my archetypes, and that is important.
Yes.
Really. I want to go ahead and read some of the questions that we have over here.
Sure.
Marcia, if you are there, do you want to go ahead and just jump on and describe this? It looks like it's pneumothorax caused by chronic hyperventilation. Do you want to describe that? Marcia, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi there.
Thought I tried to describe it pretty good.
Yeah, you did, but I just thought it would be good if we just had your voice on.
I have severe breathing problems and dizziness from it, and I can just barely walk, just for the basic essentials. I'm in bed or on the recliner like most of the day, and it's been for 8 years now. But I did know that I healed myself of depression and anxiety and all that. My mind is completely quiet and calm, but my body, with this relaxation I've been doing for 8 years, my deep unconscious has just been coming out. My past lifetimes of being healed and different things. But the more I relax, the more I feel intense anxiety in my body. And it started in the womb and when I was born and my whole childhood. So I'm wondering if there's something else, like it's already improved a fair bit, but the dizziness is still there, and the heaviness in my chest.
Okay. So I have a quick question. Did you ever do a fat-free diet and no-fat diet, like a low-fat diet before?
No, never.
You've always eaten fats?
I've always eaten fats. Always.
Okay. What kind of fat do you cook with?
Well, right now I use animal fats.
Okay,
I
so
stay away from oils because they're no longer cold pressed and expeller pressed, except for extra virgin olive oil and extra virgin coconut oil. But otherwise, I stay with raw butter and lard, and mostly butter and
good.
animal fats. I make soups with the broth. I've done that for years, and I have all the fat from the
Yeah.
bones.
Okay, good. So I have a suggestion for you with you got to do a little bit of gallbladder bile flush because it's a little bit sluggish in there. So do you do any kind of a liver gallbladder support at all as a supplement?
I've been taking lime juice and I've been taking celery. I eat celery. I don't do celery juice, but I take lime and celery, and I eat extremely healthy. I eat herbs. We grow a lot of herbs, and we freeze them in packages, and all winter long we put them in our soup and stew, a whole package full of strong herbs.
Okay,
And
so
herbs and spices, everything. And I use, we grow sea buckthorn and we juice it, and I bring it out of the freezer. We grow grapes that I juice with all the pulp in it. Bring it out of the freezer.
it's Marcia, right? Marcia?
Yeah.
Marcia, okay. So those are all fantastic. And then I say keep up with all those things, okay? But I still feel like your gallbladder and the bile is extremely sluggish. And how old are you now?
70.
Okay, yeah, so it's time that we start doing this. So what I would recommend with you is to see if you could find bile salts. And that's basically, you might want to get phosphatidylcholine. Have you ever heard of a thing called
What is bile salt?
So bile salts is that you want to get ox bile salts, okay? And that's basically what it's called. But it helps you to flush your bile. So you've eaten well, you have done your part in terms of emotional health, mental health, and spiritual health. But what comes down to is that our bodies do age, okay? Even though I'm one of those people that believe in biological age versus chronological age, and we can really slow down the aging by focusing on your own biological health, which is taking care of your body, your digestion, your elimination, and then detoxifications, and so on and so forth. So you've done a great job. It's just sometimes the filter just needs to get cleaned out, right? You might have put in a really good furnace in your house, like top of the line. And the furnace guy said, hey, this is gonna last you 45 years to 50 years, I guarantee it. So it's doing well. But that doesn't mean that you can turn on the furnace without changing the filter every so often, right? So that's what the liver is. Liver is a giant filter system. And so that's where I feel the sluggishness, and that's where I feel that, I hate to say it, and then I hope you don't take it personally too much, but stubbornness, okay? So there's a stubborn rigidness that I sense from you when I tune in. So that stubborn rigidness has to be cleaned out, meaning change the filter. So bile salts, ox bile salts preferred, okay? That is what is going to help you to start cleaning out the filter. And another thing is called phosphatidylcholine. And I love for Andrew, will you help me out to type that in on the Google and type it on the chat, because I'm not about to look that spelling up. But phosphatidyl starts with PH. Phosphatidylcholine, okay? So that's what I would like for you to start taking. And herbs are great. You know, herbs are great for maintenance. But when things starts to get clogged up over the years, this is when some of these supplements are going to be extremely helpful. Just so you know that, everyone, you know that I'm trained in Ayurveda also. So I'm very familiar with the herbal usage. However, when body needs a little bit more therapeutic dose and a kickstart, that's when I do love introducing supplements. Okay, so.
Okay, what happens if my stomach can't tolerate them? I'm very sensitive to foods, and I don't take very many. Like I can't take a multivitamin or mineral because
these are not.
I can't take them.
So these are not multivitamins. This is
No, I
not
know.
vitamins or minerals.
I'm just saying there's a lot of supplements I can't take. So, I mean, I'll try them, but
You'll be okay with this.
I'll be-
Okay. So everybody knows
the ox bile should be okay.
everybody know the difference between supplements and vitamins and minerals. Okay. The supplements that I'm just recommending to you right now. Yes. Thank you, Andrew. That's it. Exactly. You got it. I wasn't about to spell that and talk at the same time because it's crazy long.
Yeah. Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah. So what I notice with all my clients, and it's almost no exceptions these days, is that they will contact me after they've been to multiple doctors, multiple physicians, multiple practitioners, and they will list like grocery bag full of supplements to me. And they would say, I'm taking this, I'm taking that, and this and this and that, right? And I look at all of them, and they're basically all minerals, vitamins, kind of a typical supplements that you hear about, CoQ10, you know, B vitamins, multivitamins, multi-this, fatty acids, omega-3s, whatever. But none of them are addressing the basics, okay? The basics means you have to be able to digest what you're taking.
Yes.
So ox bile salt is not a vitamin or minerals. It's actually to support your production of the bile that is happening already in your body, that is clogging up the filter, to support that to become a little bit looser. Because what happens with the bile is like an old kitchen, like an old restaurant. In the back of the frying pan, you know, the oil gets all sticky and you can never get that off, right? They're all stuck on the walls. It's like that. That's what happens to bile. So when does that happen to bile? When you're not digesting your fats very well, as you get older, as your stomach acid starts to go down. All those things will cause you to not able to have the bile that is flowing very easily. And they become this sticky thing. So what ox bile does is to flush that out for you and make the bile a little smoother. So they're not this greasy thing that gets stuck on the wall.
Yes, yes, I understand that.
Okay.
I do understand that, and I know what supplements are. I'm just saying that there are quite a few different supplements and pills. When I try and take them, I can't take them. So some I can and some I can't.
Well, that's all I get. That's what I have.
The bile should be fine. I just don't know about the other one.
Yeah.
Phosphatidylcholine is the same thing. That's produced in your liver as well. And it's helpful for sludgy, really sticky bile to soften up and loosen up. So they can actually start to clean your colon, and they can actually bind with the fiber and create a really beautiful poop. I'm all about beautiful poop. Okay, so that's been
I already have good bowel movements, so I have great bowel
you
movements.
can even have a better one. Okay, so that's one thing, and I would recommend that you need to want to work on some of these supplements, and then at the same time really dig into softening up a little bit. You know, maybe do a hula dance. maybe maybe do it like a what's that thing that like a round things that you do, a hula hoop, you know. Hula hoop is great.
I don't think you heard me say I can barely walk to the bathroom, and I'm very dizzy.
You can do that sitting down.
Before this happened, I was on a ladies slow pitch ball team, played volleyball, I jogged, I did yoga, and then one day this hit me, and I haven't been able to do any exercise since, except I stretch.
I'm going to stop you. I'm going to stop you right there, because you're going into the story. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I can't do dances.
You're getting deeper and deeper and deeper, and you didn't let me finish how you can do this on the chair. Okay, so let me finish.
Okay.
You can do these moves on the chair. Okay, you can do this in bed. You can even go from one hip to the other by bending your knees, lying down, facing up, and you could go from one hip to the other hip. Okay, so I need you to stop going down that storyline and going down that spiral.
Yeah, I don't really like when you say that, because the only way I can explain to you what my condition is to say a story. But to myself, I don't ever say any stories. I simply live in gratitude and in happiness. But in order to explain to you, I have to tell you what's happening. And the thing is, my breathing is so bad, if I do any activity, I'm in danger of having a heart attack or a stroke. My blood pressure just skyrockets and my heart races, and it takes hours to get it stopped. So this is what I have to tell you my story, or else there's no point in, you'd have to guess it. But I don't live in that story at all.
Got
Not
it.
at all.
Got it. Okay.
Okay.
So I need you to do the bile. That is what's causing your heart issues. Okay. That is the direct causal. So it's basically the filter needing some support, and your bio needs to soften up. Okay. And then bio needs to start flowing so you can have a flow back into your life, and the flexibility of your mind back, and then having your body be flexible. So start with the bile for sure. And
okay, I want to go ahead and go to Andrew. I thank you so much, Marcia. And Andrew said that he has an issue with his esophagus, esophagitis. And did I say that right?
Esophagitis.
Esophagitis, excuse me.
all right. What are you feeling? What is that like?
Well, it like certain foods has caused my throat to close up to the point where I'm actually choking to death almost. But then I relax and it releases. So I haven't actually died from it, but it's just, you know, I have to stay away from certain foods. And I would like to get back so I can enjoy some of the foods I used to. So.
All right. So what I want you to do is go to your left side of the rib, okay? And you know where the ribs go down, like right where the third chakra is, okay? So sternum comes down and the ribs come down, okay? On your left side, so I'll show it to you. So if you're not on the video, some of you may want to get on the video, okay? So your sternum, you know, the ribs go like this, right?
Yeah.
And right where the sternum comes down. Okay, so where are you? I could there. What's your left hand doing? Okay, so
that's where the rib is, right here at the end of the rib.
okay, so come back up. Can you see me?
Yeah.
Okay, so come back to center. Both hands at the center.
Okay.
Yeah, and then go out on that ribs just a little bit. So it's called your personal inch, which is where your thumb and your first knuckle. That's called your personal inch. Okay, that's your inch. So you're gonna go from where the xiphoid process is, basically where the sternum comes in, comes down, and your ribs begin right there. Not begin, but they come together.
Yeah.
Go out on that ribs area and touch that area a little bit. Okay, that's way too high. Where's your third chakra? Right there, right there, right there. Okay. So on the edge of your left ribs. Okay, on the edge of your left rib area.
So about here?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, poke around there. Do you feel any tenderness around there?
Probably, yeah.
Right? Okay, so, and then right under, if you were to wear a bra, on the left side again, poke around there. Can you feel that it's a little tender around there if you were to wear a bra?
Like right
yeah,
here?
right around there. Yeah, go a little bit more center. A little bit more center. You're going up too much. Yeah, there you go. Maybe.
Yeah, right here, it's tender.
Yeah, okay, got it. All right. So basically those are the areas that will be a little bit tender, and you know, if you poke around other areas, it won't be tender because it's a particular point. Okay, yeah. So that means you have a very low stomach acid, which I didn't need to show you that, and I could have told you that right off the bat, but I wanted you to feel your body.
Well, it's a lesson for everyone, because you know but I think, you know, earlier you were talking about the gut. I believe there was the no, that's the what was it? Oh God, you mentioned something about the gut earlier, and because I think I have gut issues is really what it is.
You do. So what you have is this thing called hypochlorhydria. Okay, what that means, don't worry about what that is, but hypo, so it means you have low production of stomach acid, meaning you have a low production of hydrochloric acid.
Yeah.
So, and am I correct, you live in London, is that right?
No, I'm in Toronto.
you're in Toronto. Okay, so Toronto, you'll be able to find this anywhere. You want to go into a store and find a bottle of betaine. I will type this up for everyone, okay? Betaine HCl. And HCl stands for hydrochloric acid. Okay?
Okay.
And what I want you to do is start taking some of these, maybe 2 to 3 capsules of these, or if it comes in tablets, that's fine too. But you want to take these with your meals. So if it's protein-based foods or, you know, carbohydrates, you don't need it as much. But when it's fats and protein, you're going to need some stomach acid. So that is what's lacking in you. So what happens is that this gets a little technical, so I won't try to go into it so much, but the stomach has this lining, okay? And it's protective lining that keeps your acid inside, stomach acid inside, okay? And it's called betaine hydrochloric acid, along with other things like zinc is in there, shows up, you know, they have a lot of digestive enzymes in there, but the stomach has to remain basically at 1.5 to 3.0 in pH. Okay, that's extremely acidic. That's healthy stomach acid should be. So if you accidentally swallowed a penny, you should be able to actually digest the penny. That's how acidic your stomach should be in order to stay healthy. But what happens, okay, this is what's interesting, okay, and this is the fun part that I love taking people through. So Andrew, what happens is that when the stomach starts to deteriorate or they are not digesting very well and you're starting to notice like, gosh, I burp a lot, I get farty a lot, you know, I get bloaty and, you know, like all kinds of gastrointestinal issues are starting to show up. So if you go back 5-10 years, you're going to start to notice, wow, you know, or like you go back to 16 and you say, I used to be able to eat anything and everything and now I can't. Okay. Well, that's slowly our stomach lining and the production of the stomach acid has deteriorated. And when that deterioration happens, your pH of the stomach acid starts to rise up, meaning it becomes less acidic. Okay. So many people who get sick from like H. pylori or E. coli, or they go out to restaurant and, you know, your friends didn't get sick, but you got like deadly sick. That means that person's pH is rising up. Sign of health, okay? In order to stay healthy, you have to have stomach acid that is acidic. So if you can remain at 1.5 to 3.0, that's going to keep your biological body so healthy. And Andrew, I did overhear how old you are last time, but I'm actually much older than you, okay? So just so you know, biologically, you can slow down the aging, okay? And I have siblings, 2 other siblings that don't do what I do and eat like I do, and their hair is totally gray, okay? But I do not have gray hair. I mean, maybe there are 5 in there somewhere, but okay. So stomach acid is what keeps you healthy and young looking, all right? So what happens is that I'm almost done with the science part, everyone, so stay with me, okay? So that and then there's a spiritual side to this that I will wrap around and come back, okay? So stomach acid, when it becomes more alkaline, as you get stressed, as you get older, as you start to have, you know, difficulties with digestion, your stomach acid is starting to become more alkaline. What happens is that everything you eat sits in your stomach a little bit longer, okay? And what it does is your protein starts to putrefy, your carbohydrates starts to ferment, and then your fats will start to rancidify, okay? So in your stomach, you have this sludgy food that is pretty much poison at this point, okay? And what it does is that if you have a little bit of a hamburger or something and then you had a little bit of buns with it or even like a fruits on top of it, that fruit will start fermenting and you start to make Andrew brand beer in there. So you're making cider in there. Yeah. So Andrew cider that nobody wants to drink, okay? And that cider starts to push up into the openings towards the throat and puts the pressure on there. but it's really painful because it's like, it's still somewhat acidic, right? Even though it's less acidic, it starts to constrict your throat because the throat says, I don't want this thing coming back up in my mouth. That, right? You don't want Andrew Beer in your mouth again. Okay. So that's what causes that kind of constrictions and that pain. And as we get older and older, and that's when people start to have constant acid reflux. They're going to start to taste acid in their mouth and so on and so forth. Okay. And what do we do in this world? We take antacids. That's the opposite of what you want to focus on. What you want to focus on is, how do I create more acid that is, it's 1.5 to 3.0 in pH and it's healthy for me. So number one, you need to sit down and eat. Okay. Number two, Andrew, you know I'm talking straight to you and you know it, because you better be chewing your food, because I live inside your house right now. I'm sitting in front of you and I can tell you don't chew your food. Okay. So you guys see, I knew it. Okay.
And he eats on the go.
Yep. Yeah, he does. I'm saying everything he needs to hear. He needs to sit. You need to sit down. You need to chew the food. You better be blessing the food before you eat and taking a pause, because it's the prana that you're about to take into your body that food becomes you. All right. So those are some of the lifestyles that you need to pay attention. And I'm almost done with this part, but the spiritual side of the stomach acid, everyone. Okay. In Ayurveda, we call it the Agni. Okay. And basically what that means is that it's your life force and it's your abilities. It's your fire in you. It's your fire of go-getter. You know, it's the fire in you to digest life that's throwing at, you know, coming at you. It's your ability to kind of digest difficult history. It's your ability to process your ancestral pain and suffering. It's your abilities to sort through and discern what's yours and what's not. That is what stomach acid is. So it's not just about, okay, I'm just going to take some stomach acid with food, but it is a spiritual practice to have a high quality stomach acid in you. Okay. So I got a little preachy there, but there you go.
No, it's okay. Someone asked, which is a good question, that BETAINE HDL, do you eat it, so you eat it with meat, or is it, or can you eat it with other stuff? So you have to eat it with meat.
So no, you can take it with some carbohydrates too, but they tend to work better, meaning the stomach acid, the betaine HCl, is meant to break down the protein into amino acids. So if you're eating beans or like hemp seeds, or, you know, eating like protein-based, more high in protein kind of vegetarian meals, or somebody that is eating a steak or hamburgers or fish or eggs, that's when that's very, very important. Okay. But it works much better on the protein and the fat mixtures than, let's say, if you're just having salads. Then you probably don't need to be taking betaine hydrochloric acid, because there's no protein masses to break down. All right?
Okay.
So I wanted to ask you is, and I saw it earlier, a few people had the same problem I have, which is constipation. And I always figure it's because I just don't take the time, and I'm in a hurry all the time, and I don't relax. So I don't know.
So Cindy, I have a question. Are you a firstborn or secondborn? Where are you? Second? Okay. So generally, I mean, this is a generally speaking, but oftentimes I would say 80–85% of the time it's somewhat correct, okay, is that people who are born second or third, so not a firstborn, tend to struggle with constipation or some kind of a bowel issues, okay? The reason is our mothers, our mothers are, you know, I mean, they have to give away their bodies, right? It's a sacrifice every time you have a child. So every time you give birth to another child, that mother's system has weakened a little bit, and particularly their liver and gallbladder weakens. So constipation, and if it's a chronic one, you need to look at a couple things. But one, since, you know, Marcia brought up the good subject of bile, you would benefit so much from taking some ox bile salts at bedtime. And Mary will she's nodding like crazy because she's been taking that since I've been suggesting that. And what it does is that the bile needs to be part of that process of pooping, because the bile is like a little scrubby bubbles, you know, the 90s commercial, right? And it cleans out your soap scum. That's what bile does also. And the bile also collects your old estrogen, in particular, men and women. And we're all influenced and exposed to xenoestrogen, basically means plastics, right, in this age, right? So plastic-based estrogen, that needs to get cleaned up. And the bile does the job also. And the bile also cleans out your lymphatic system. Bile's doing, I mean, liver and gallbladder are doing like 600 things a day, okay? And balances all kinds of different blood sugar and all that, okay? So what I would recommend is that you take bile salts before you go to bed. And if the bottle says take 2 before meal or something, just ignore it. Just take the whole, just take the whole amount that they suggest. If it says 2 per meal, that means 6. But I want you to muscle test yourself. Always go from like 4, you know, start with 4 and say, do I need 4? Do I need 5? Because if you take too much, your stools could get a little runnier. So you're looking for the sweet spot, okay? But don't be afraid to take bile salts. So that's one. Number 2, with people who are constipated, and as I announced, this is my 3rd time I'm a constipation queen, so I know so much about constipation, okay? Couple of things, and I'll give you my background of constipation. And I asked my mom one time, I said, was I a constipated baby? And she said, no, you weren't. But what happened was I was in a pretty bad accident when I was about 6 years old. I fell out of the back of a moving van, and I rolled onto the pavement and then onto railroad tracks and so on and so forth. So I had a pretty severe head injury. And what that does is that severs that connection of the vagal nervous system of the gut and the brain and creates difficulties communicating brain and gut. So that's why I have become really constipated since that time. And I had to work through my emotions and, you know, difficulties to just kind of feel relaxed about subject of poop, okay? So what you want to do is that if it's constipation, it's chronic, you need to tone your vagus nerves. So the vagus nerve needs to be too. So one of the things, I just
froze up.
Yeah. So you need to kindly attend to that vagus nerve. Okay. I'm so sorry, everyone.
And I've had a car wreck. At that time when this problem started, I was thrown from a horse. And I didn't know at the time, but I actually cracked my neck, bones in my neck. So
yeah. So you know that. So, you know, severe head injuries, we cannot take this lightly. I mean, luckily, a lot of kids that play football and things like that, now they're wearing helmets and things and, you know, bicycles and things. But most of us have injured our heads. But
I had a concussion.
Yeah, when you have concussion or when you lose your, basically, you know, you black out, that's a #1 sign that you are going to have chronic issues with bowel movements for most people, okay? And it's difficult because it's going to be a lifelong challenge, but you can do ways to tone the vagus nerves because that's what got severed. And if you broke your neck or injured your neck, that's where the vagus nerve comes out of. Okay, so it's extremely important. And so craniosacral work can be very, very helpful for you, but also things like gargling first thing in the morning is extremely helpful. Another thing is tongue scraping to the point that you bring your tongue scraper. I use a teaspoon, by the way, everyone. I don't use any fancy tongue scrapers. Who cares about that, right? So
FARRIS uses too.
Yeah, so you want to do the tongue scraping every single morning, and you want to get that, teaspoon, what I use teaspoon, but you want to get it to the back enough that makes you feel slightly gaggy. However, I'm sorry if you were, you used to have bulimia issues, or I was anorexic for a long time. You want to be careful with that gag reflex, right? So please be gentle with that side. But it's that slight gag reflex is actually what's toning the vagus nerve. And what tones it is that it tones your peristalsis in your colon. So because your peristalsis have gotten maybe too spastic or too loose, so they're not working with you. So that's the exercise. So other things are like singing out loud. When I gargle, I do Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. And Mary has seen me do this multiple times. So I literally do this. Okay, ready, everyone? I go like this. That's what I do.
I could do that.
Yes. So gargling, humming, tongue scraping, that's what tones it and that wakes it up. And of course, breathing technique. I'm sure you know a lot of the parasympathetic promoting breathing technique, meditating, taking the time to journal, taking the time to, connect with your guys in a way that is healing to your energetic field. Those are all so important. Yes.
Yep, my daily journal right here.
Awesome. So when you do that, you just ask your guys to send you a little bit of a softening energy, and maybe a kind of a soft massage kind of energy. And while you're journaling and tuning into that, you may want to do figure 8 with your hips, like I was, telling Marsha to do. Something like that would be really good, just to kind of get back in touch. Because when you do a head injury, there's a disconnect that happens, particularly with your first and second chakra. And, it's a deep-seated issue that you will constantly have to work with, but it's been a blessing too, because that has actually helped you so much more with tuning in and connecting with your guides. So, it's blessing and also poopy issue. Right.
Well, I have to say this has been so amazing. I have loved this so much, and we've got a couple of other comments.
Yeah, one real good question here that Irene had is, if you don't have your gallbladder anymore, are the bile salts effective?
Yes. So I love this question. Okay, and Mary's like nodding, like she's gonna like injure her neck with like a whiplash if she doesn't stop the shaking. Yeah, but I love this question because we remove in this country, in the United States, that is the most practiced surgery in this country. We remove anywhere from 600,000 plus gallbladders a year.
Good Lord.
Yeah, so please think twice. If you still have your gallbladder, please don't rush and start removing them. Okay, please take time to learn about it, research, go to PubMed, learn, okay? Because it's essential, okay? God did not make any mistakes, okay? So we were given everything we need in our bodies. So that being said, if you do not have a gallbladder, you must, and it's not a you need to, okay? I changed the language to you must take bile salts. There's no exceptions to this rule if you do not have a gallbladder. And your life will start to feel so much better if you can start to take bile salts. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So.
And Penny just said, is the bedtime recommendation for bile salts for everyone?
The bedtime recommendations for bile salts. Yeah. Not necessarily. No, not at all. I was talking to one of my clients today that she's breastfeeding, and also she has, how old is he now? He's like 6 months old. Doctor was going to put him on antacids, and she called me. It was 6 weeks old, this baby was. And she called me from the doctor's office and said, I don't know what to do. And I told her to crush the bile salts for that baby and into the water, and then using droppers and have him ingest it. And that solved the issue because he was having issues with fat digestion. And that's why he was not sleeping at night, and he did not need antacids. What he needed was bile salts. So in that case, I have this little baby take bile salts with the meal every time. So it just depends, you know, but if you're dealing with a chronic constipation like I am, or, you know, what Cindy's dealing with, taking it at night is so helpful, because during the night, your liver and gallbladder are trying to cleanse you and trying to clean you out. So it's to support that process. Okay. So I don't take bile salts with the meals at all. That being said, I recommend it to the mother of this baby today that she probably should take at least 1 to 2 tablets of bile salts with at least with lunch, because lunch is her biggest meal. Okay. So it will all depend on that person. I'm a very bio individual when it comes to my work, because I do believe in, you know, kind of an overall message is there, but also bio individuality is very important. So I would test that bottle against your body. Yeah. Or you can reach out to me, you know, in terms of wanting to work with me, that's fine too. So. Yeah, and then is ox bile the same as bile salts?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And
I want to make sure that people that there's a lot of questions here. If you still have questions and you would like to have maybe a private session, which is what I suggest for everyone, then you can get a hold of Masami directly. And how do they do that?
yeah, so I'm going to type in just my name here.
Okay.
It's just MASAMI'Covey.com, and don't be alarmed if it takes you to the page that says Zen Shing Method. And that is my website, Zen Shing Method. And someday, you know, Cindy and Farris, we'll have a Zen Shing Method call.
Okay.
But it's a method that I use that I was channeled by Zen Shing. It's a long story, so I won't go into it, but it's been over a decade. It literally came to me. These amazing, I call them gods, but gods came to me and said, you are going to start developing this Zenshin method. It's a word in Japanese, Zenshin. And Zenshin has 7 meanings, and it's all pronounced the same. Like, you know, ocean sea and I see you, it's same sea, but you spell it differently. But in the Chinese characters, the characters are all different, 7 different characters. And for example, one meaning is whole body. The second meaning is whole heart, mind. And then another meaning is goodness of your heart. Another one means like moving forward, like drive. Or the other one is a steady progression. You know, so Zenshin has 7 meanings, and I've created over the years this method slowly. And the Zenshin God never gave me a green light till about a month ago. Finally, then I call them Zenshin gods. They came to me and said, you've lived your life long enough, you've worked through this, you're now able to share this knowledge with others. And it took me over a decade for them to give me a green light. So it's been a journey, but so you'll find Zenshin method or Masami Covey, same thing. One of the things that I'm super excited right now is I've been doing a small group. I just love small group energy.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you know, I'm sure many of you know Lynn McTaggart, who does that Power of 8. You know, beautiful, beautiful practice. I was inspired by that. And so what I started doing last month was I started creating a small group of 5 people only. And it's literally $99 only to speak to me for close to 3 hours. It says 2+ hours, but man, it's been 3 hours now. The 3 hours we spend with 5 people plus me, so 6 of us. And each of you have a chance to speak to me about your questions, specific things you're experiencing, symptoms, and you know, maybe diagnosis and whatnot. And I will go directly into what you need to be doing. I'm sure you realize that I'm very specific with my knowledge, but also my direction of what you need to do. So that's what we do. And it's been amazing. I get off of those calls and I feel like I could mow the lawn. Like that's, you know. And I could mow the lawn, I could weed my garden. Like it's that energizing to me. And so people have been repeating this because they're like, this is incredible. That, you know, so I've been loving it. So I say to my husband, gosh, I wish I had Masami's small sessions like when I was suffering with MS. You know, it's that good. Like I would sign up for me, you know. So that's yeah, that's what I'm doing. And then also another one is once a month I do a webinar with my husband, and it's different topics. And in May, so it's the first Tuesday, so May 5th. And by the way, in Japan, that's the day of to celebrate children. And it's a day when my father passed away in 2016. So it's a very important day for me. So May 5th, I'll be going over some adrenal fatigue and microbial impact of your depression and your anxieties and things like that. And then I plan to go into a little bit more hypothyroid issues as well. So that's about 90 minutes to 2 hours that my husband and I come together and we share and we take Q&A also. So you can find all that on my website. So
Beautiful.
yes, thank you for giving me the chance to express that.
Well, this has been so amazing. And I know that there are many more questions out there and statements that people have made over here. And, you know, I didn't mean to keep you so long.
Oh, no, no.
I
mean, Cindy, are you too exhausted? Because I'm so energized. Farris, do you need to take a nap? Or if you don't, let's take one more question if you're okay with it.
I'm perfectly fine with that.
Okay.
Who would like to raise their hand?
Alice has had her hand up for quite a while.
She has. Okay, Alice, you want to unmute yourself? Can she? There, I just unmuted you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, hello, everybody.
Hi.
Wow, this is so interesting. And it seems like everything you say, Masami, my gosh, it relates to me too, it seems. I had a question about the, because I think I'm probably a good candidate who needs to flush, I know I am, the gallbladder and the bile system and all that. And about 15 years ago, was the first time I had a gallbladder attack, and I went and had some imaging and blah, blah. And I said, no, I'm not doing this. And I walked away, and I just do self-healing. I do energy work myself. And I've been able to maintain, but I think my question is this: I don't have any health insurance. If I do start using the bile salts and the phosphatidylcholine, could I possibly trigger a gallbladder crisis where I would need medical allopathic intervention?
You know, that's a fabulous question, actually, and I'm glad you brought it up. And then I'm so impressed that you can say phosphatidylcholine like so perfectly. It literally took me 3 months of practicing that word every single day to say it, you know, so good job right there.
I have a lot of science background too.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah. So yeah, that's actually a really, really good question. So in your case, I would definitely look into the, review the section that when I talked to Andrew about his stomach acid, that's where I would start, okay? So issues are always north to south, right? What that means is that if Andrew doesn't stop, sorry, Andrew, I'm just going to keep using you as an example. If Andrew doesn't stop and eat his meal by blessing it and slowing down and chewing that food, and then know that he is worth it, okay? Because there's a part of Andrew that feels like, oh, I can't be bothered, I got other things to do. But he has to change his attitude around his physiology, this sentient vehicle that we were given. This is God-given, beautiful vehicle that we need to take care of. And if he doesn't change that mindset at the north level, nothing changes. So that's number one, right? Number two, on the north to south channel is your mouth. So you want to make sure your oral health is good. If anybody's struggling with oral health, that's a sign that your entire system is needing some support. So number one, you need to be chewing your food, right? and making sure that you're not over drinking water while you're eating your food. Water should be consumed between the meals, not with your food. And if you're needing a ton of water to swallow your food, that means you're not producing enough saliva and you're not producing enzymes in your mouth to break down your carbs and your fats. So that's a number 2 level, right? So you want to chew your food. And then number 3 level is that once you swallow that, your stomach does not have teeth. So you better have chewed your food first of all. And then once it hits the stomach, that's when you're going to need some support from the stomach acid. So that is the betaine hydrochloric acid. And I sense that actually you would benefit so much from getting some kind of a digestive enzymes also. So,
yes, that if I could inject, that was actually part B of my question. I've been on, I tried to come off of acid reducers because that's what I told I needed to do years ago. And then I'm like, no, that's making it worse. How can I, if you have a suggestion, if this is appropriate for this forum, to transition from that, coming off of that and using the betaine hydrochloride without, because I've tried to come off the acid reducers before and it got so bad, I just couldn't stand it.
So Alice, this is where I would have to be honest with you and say, Alice, you've got to sign up and really work with me. And I'm not saying that because of the commercial purposes, okay, everyone? The thing is, to come off of antacids, okay, which is the most given out pharmaceutical drugs in this country, okay? We are putting people, and like I said, 6 months old, not 6 months, 6 weeks old baby onto antacids now, okay? We've gotten to that level, okay? So don't get me started, FARRIS. All right. Don't get me started. My liver has settled down for a moment, so let's not get that all angered up. All right. Yeah, so we're not going to go down that road. However, you probably could feel it in my voice that I am so angry about this because nobody's looking at the science, okay? Please look up the science. Go to PubMed. It's available for everybody to learn about this stuff. And people have been talking about the fact that we don't have enough acid in our stomach since the 1930s. Okay, but follow the money, right? So I'm going to say no more about that politics. However, so to come off of the PPIs, it's called proton pump inhibitors. Okay, to come off of PPIs, you have to prepare your body for at least a couple of weeks, and then it can take upwards of 8 weeks or longer to come off of it. And that's what I suggest people to do when they come to me. I take them through step by step by step. And I think, Mary, did you come off of it? Mary, I think I took Mary through coming off of the PPIs. And it takes time because it will come back with the vengeance. And it'll burn you more than ever before when you stop and then when you start to introduce stomach acid. So I'm so glad you mentioned that you were taking PPIs. This is important, everyone. If you are on PPIs, you cannot quit that today, okay, and just start taking. Masami said betaine plus betaine hydrochloric acid. I'm going to start taking that. No. You cannot come off of PPIs overnight like that. Not even a week, not even 2 weeks. You want to prepare your body, and it will take you 8 weeks or longer, depending on how many decades you've been on that. And if you, next time, everyone, if you have a box or a bottle of PPI, please look at their label, because the label says do not take more than 3 weeks. Okay. Yeah. But most people are on it for decades, and they contact me and say, I want to get off of it. Okay.
What is a PPI? I don't mean to be ignorant, but I've never had
omeprazole, not Prozac.
Proton pump inhibitor.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The reason you saw that look on my face was because I was on omeprazole for about 8 years. Until one day my doctor told me just how bad it was for absorption of vitamin D.
Yeah.
And I just threw the bottle away.
Yeah.
Which was not the way to do it. But I was pissed.
And my doctor just tried to, without any examination at all, tried to get me to take that.
Yeah.
And she just met me over Zoom, or, you know, the medical things. And she decided this is what I needed. And so that's why I was wondering, and she said that, and I'm like, I meant to research it, but I just kind of went, my whole body went, no.
So Andrew, I have homework for you. I want you to write PPIs and give us some list of those names, of the drug names, okay? So Alice, this is such an important conversation we're having.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, thank you so much.
yeah, and you won't.
Masami, can I just say one thing?
Yeah, yes.
Because I had been on those PPIs for probably 20 years. And I had such an attack. My doctor said, let's take your gallbladder out. And then as soon as you're done with this, we'll put you back on the PPIs. And I was so, looking back, confused by why would he tell me to continue to take the things that had caused my problems with my stomach digestive system. And there's still, to me, a lot of that advice out there that is erroneous, at least for me and for many people. Be very careful, because it does tear up your whole digestive system if you take them as long as I did. And there was nothing wrong with my gallbladder, but that was just what they decided to do. So now I am.
So, you know, I'm glad, Mary, you mentioned that. This is where the north to south issue is. So
Yeah.
most people come to me or they visit doctors because they have south issues, like they're having colitis or some kind of a, you know, itises, which is inflammation. They're having all kinds of gut pain. They don't know exactly what it is. They're getting gallbladder attacks. They're getting kidney stones. So they go and see the doctors for the south issues. But what I'm trying to say to everyone right now is that we need to go towards the heavens. That's where the answer is. You got to go to the north, then pull that heavens down towards the earth so you can have heaven on earth. That's what we're here to experience.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that is what I'm trying to do on a physical level also, because we as a spiritual community, we as light workers, we as empaths and sensitives and beautiful people that we are, so many of us have bypassed our bodies. So spiritual bypassing has gotten into the physical side. So what I'm saying is that heaven can be lived in you, within you, and through you. That is the heavenly practice, and that is the heavenly way of living. So, you know, coming back to the Alice's question is that, would this hurt her? The bile salts will not hurt you, Alice, okay? Phosphatidylcholine will not hurt you. In fact, they will help you. But I would not rush to start doing the stomach acid today, because that requires some step-by-step support. And if your doctor is prescribing this, the doctor probably won't be able to support you much, or they may not have a lot of solution for it, because you want to start to introduce some herbal things. You want to start doing different ways of eating to slowly prep your body so you can go back to producing the stomach acid like you normally should be. Okay, so I hope that helped, Alice.
That was excellent. Thank you so very much. And I just sent a little message that says, my mom's going to love it when she hears my digestive stuff, suggests that I'm stubborn. Mom will love that one.
Yeah.
Thank
Well,
you.
welcome to the club. That was my middle name, literally. So yeah.
And mine
I
too.
know all about it. Yeah.
There's
Andrew,
a website with a lot of the names. I can't just copy and paste because it was got another information. So I put the link in there. I don't know if you want me to read it out. Some names.
just read like a top 5, because almost everyone has heard of some of these.
Sure. Well,
I
it's
know
like
some of the names.
Dexalent, Solatab, Nexium, 24-hour,
There you go.
There you go.
Progenix.
And also I may add Tums. Okay.
And that was the first thing she told me. She said, go get some Tums, start taking Tums. And again, she never met me.
Mm-hmm.
I kept telling her, when I was if I had COVID-19 in January, like
Mhm.
my other doctor suspects, it happened then. It was after I started getting better. That's when all this happened. I have never had digestive issues. You know, constipation, yes, but as far as anything around my heart and that, nothing. So,
Yeah.
and she starts just prescribe. She said, try this, and then we'll put you on these other things. And I didn't even, like I said, I've never had a problem, so I've never really had a need to know.
And you know, everyone, please know that I'm not a doctor. Okay. And at times I wish that I grew up here, so I spoke English as my first language. Maybe I would have chosen to go to medical school. But you know what? That's just what it is, right? I didn't go to medical school. I didn't learn to be a physician, MD. However, I probably study medical journals more than most doctors do. Okay. And I'm up to date on all the science that you can throw at me. Because I'm a very devoted learner, and that has kept me going. And it's just, I'm not going to stand here and say doctors should not prescribe certain medications. I will never be the one to say you better get off that, you know, medications, or I'll never work with you. It's not like that. We have to coexist. We need to support one another. But as patients, as individuals, you can stand up and start to teach and educate some of these doctors that are bombarded with insurance claims. And they, you know, most doctors are no longer practicing medicine. They're basically typing up on the computer the codes, and they're very, very busy. And I have a lot of doctor friends, and I have dear, dear people who I've worked with and in the doctor's office, and I respect them. So, you know, but it's about you becoming educated. That's what this next realm, next world that's bringing to us, is that we become more educated in who we are as inside, as individuals. And that's what I talked about even in January in 2000, this year. I really emphasize that this is the time when you start to truly take responsibilities and educate yourself, because you can learn this stuff that I'm talking about. It's not a mystery. So please take charge, step into who you are in a literal sense as well. So, you know, last maybe image is that your soul is always trying to pull the heavens down, and your spirit is always wanting to return to the heavens. So we're always getting pulled in these two, you know, bi-directional, but it's a pulling of the heavens and the earth. And we get to stand in the middle of that every day and be pulled. And then, you know, so it's like an expansion and contractions always happening, soul and spirit, heaven and earth. But you get to experience both realms as human bodies. This is a beautiful vehicle. Please, please take care of this vehicle and love this that carries and hosts and houses trillions of microbes and all of the above. You know, it just gets me all excited. And so, and some of you already know about the damage of PPI. So I'm really glad I'm reading some of the messages on here. And yes, PPIs will make you not digest calcium well. So guess what? What do we have in this country? So many people have bone issues, osteoporosis, osteopenia. We're not digesting calcium because we don't have enough stomach acid. So guess what's in the Tums? Tums is mostly calcium. Why do they have to add calcium to a Tums? That's because we're not absorbing calcium. So that's why they added into it, okay? So, you know, dig a little deeper, everyone. Just, you know, I love that about FARRIS. I love you, FARRIS. I've never met you, but I just love you so much. Love you, love you, love you. Cindy.
Right back at you, darling.
We have to educate ourselves. So thank God for people like FARRIS that are going out there and researching this stuff. So, yeah.
That's great.
And Masami, domo arigato. That's, I would be more formal, but I can't pronounce it.
No, that was actually the formal way.
That and how to count to 10 is all the Japanese I have.
Well, I see that's better than most people, so that's good, right? Yeah, thank you, thank you. So thank you, everyone, and really check me out. I have a lot of interesting free stuff out there that I've been posting, and, you know, so it's not just paid services. There's a lot of interesting stuff that I've been doing. So
And tell your husband thank you for the work he does too.
Yes.
I
Please,
will.
please.
I will. Yeah.
And I just thank you so much for this. And one of the things that Devonna says is find a good functional medicine. I actually have a nurse practitioner who is, she does integrative medicine. And she immediately, she said, don't you dare go on those Tums. Don't you do this. And she had me come down and get some things and in the HCL. And, but I don't know if I'll have to look and see if the BILE is in there that you were talking about too.
Yeah, it's easy to find in a store too. And Cindy, you can reach out to me. I mean, I sell pharmaceutical grade supplements as well. So, you know, but
okay.
Please don't go to my website and start looking for supplements on my website. So this is something that I feel strongly about not doing. So you will find some supplements on there, like the basic stuff. But a lot of people contact me and say, hey, you mentioned this, but I don't see it on your website. I have access to all grade pharmaceutical grade supplements, but I don't post it there because if I don't know what you really need and if I can't tune into you, that's a disservice for me. So I don't sell a bunch of supplements. I don't believe in that. I believe in selling my service first so that I can support that person deeper after I have a chance to communicate with them. That's why you're not going to find a bunch of supplements on my website besides just the few that I have listed there. Yeah. So reach out to me, Cindy, and we'll go from there. But your nurse practitioner is a keeper.
Yeah, she's amazing. I also was diagnosed with MS. And along with her, we found out what was going on with my body. It's taken about 7 years. And oh my gosh, I feel great. And I feel great now. I was told to fast for 40 days and 40 nights, which I've been doing. We talked about that.
Yeah.
And I just did a water fast for 6 days. And then I was told, to start eating 1 meal a day, except for on the weekends, I can relax that. But during the week, I'm very strict on that. And what a difference that has made. And then my energy's coming back and I'm just feeling amazing. So.
Yeah, that'll be another topic we'll go into is the intermittent fasting and the importance of taking a break. Can
we have you back every week?
Sure. Well, I would love to come back because as you can see, I'm like not wanting to leave this room. So
I love it.
Let's have everybody like pillows and blankets and we start sleeping around this, screen. So, but yeah,
that's great.
But yeah, with the fasting, please, people don't just go out and start doing water fasting. Okay. This is a very serious matter, but I do believe in eating less for dinner is actually very, very helpful, everyone, because you do not need to be eating a bunch of dinner when your body is trying to detox during your sleep and your brain is going through an enema. Okay. So please cut the meals, I don't care about calories, but just the amount of dinner, let's cut it down a little bit. That's going to be helpful for everyone.
2 o'clock is my big meal of the day. And then if I need anything, and that's usually just on the weekends, just because we're busier, I'm doing more physical activity. So I'll add something, but it's always light. And right now I'm just doing a green drink, late in the afternoon. And so that's been my schedule, and that's helped me more than anything that they tried to prescribe. Well, I didn't even get it filled.
Yeah. And, I know. I keep adding like a PS, PSS, PPSS, whatever, but this is another PS here. Okay. Is that with COVID-19, I have to say in the last 3 weeks or so, I've been feeling stronger and stronger about eating a little more plant-based foods. As you can probably tell that I do eat animal protein, everyone. And I do make bone broths and, I eat a lot of butter and ghee and all that. However, I have to say the last 3 weeks, the psychic weight has been so heavy that I need to lighten up my food. so that the psychic weight doesn't overwhelm me. So I've been eating a lot more lighter foods like raw vegetables. I'm juicing vegetables. I'm eating a little bit of fruits back into my body. And like tonight, I made a cilantro, basil, and parsley with a little bit of avocado and hemp seeds and chia seeds, and blended in a really powerful blender, like a Vitamix kind of thing, and made a pesto. And that's what I had for dinner before I came on this call. Maybe that's why I have so much energy. But things like that is really uplifting for empaths right now, because the psychic energy is pretty heavy right now. So
It really is.
yeah. All right.
And I just thank you so much for this. This has been amazing. Thank you, Mary. We found Masami through
Oh my
Mary.
God.
So
Aren't we?
I'm gonna
Isn't
unmute us
she
here.
amazing?
Arigato.
Thank you,
well,
Masami.
Thank you,
just thank you so
Talking
much
to you
for being
Thank
here.
you.
I love you.
So much.
Thank you.
Yeah.